Yo, welcome to another episode of Substance and Style Pod. I'm Niall
and I'm Antonio.
And we've got another good episode today, man. We've got a debate episode, probably our first major debate episode. So I hope you guys.
You said you wanted like a 20.
I hope you guys really like it. Yeah, man. So I just wanted to start off with Antonio. Yeah. What have you been listening to, man? What have you been listening to?
I have been listening to 070 Shake, the Good Music signee. She's an actual beast. Like, her visuals are on point. Like, before Good Music, she was releasing dope music, and she was on the Pusha T album Daytona on the Santeria feature. Then last year she released Modus Vivendi, which means something kind of philosophical in Latin. I can't remember what, but that's a great project as well. She's really like futuristic. And then also I Don't Want to Feel No More by Reggie, Reggie. Definitely check out that music video. It's a really poetic track, and he's a dope upcoming artist.
Okay.
And also Benny the Butcher just released the plugs I Met Too.
Benny, one of my favorite rappers.
Yeah, no skips. Like, Harry Fraud on the production of that is impeccable as well. And how about yourself? What's been in your rotation?
So listen, I've been listening to some Sade. Yo, you know I love me my Sade, especially their later stuff. So like Love Deluxe onwards, like Love Deluxe, Lovers Rock. And I want to say
isn't Lovers Rock like an old Jamaican genre of music as well?
Kind of,
like
yeah.
Pre-reggae.
That album was meant to have a lot of Jamaican influence on it.
Okay.
It didn't so much translate into all the tracks. Like, I feel like they recorded a lot more than what actually materialized on the project.
It became like conceptual to the words Lovers Rock.
Yeah, more than in terms of music. I think only one or two songs I think with that kind of influence in it, but definitely been loving Sade at the moment. I mean, always. Giveon as well. I know he recently repacked his 2 EPs and put extra song on it called When It's All Said and Done, Take Time.
Yeah.
Been loving that. The song All To Me, I think it's called. So yeah, bumping Giveon. Also, in terms of some kind of more experimental indie stuff, I've been really feeling Nujabes as well. Yeah. Like when I'm studying, when I'm doing assignments, I really love listening.
Such calming music.
I love listening to Nujabes, like dope kind of Japanese.
Yeah, real innovative for like Japanese hip hop.
Of course.
Like before he was a producer, didn't he have like a record shop out there?
Yeah.
And he really liked to keep to himself, like low key dude. Rest in peace.
Fully. And finally, Kali Uchis. I was listening to her because I know her new album's doing really well. Yeah. I've been listening to Kali Uchis' first. I want to say not her first project, but her first album, Por Vida.
Yeah, 2016.
2015, I think.
2015.
Yeah, like the songs like Lottery. Yeah. And, the album is really slept on.
Another artist with great visuals.
Nah, of course. But anyway, man, so on to the debate of the day. So, listen, guys, this is a heavy one.
Let's tell them how it started. So you said you wanted to do like a little 20-25 minute debate.
I did.
Yeah.
And basically the debate we settled upon is 90s rap, is 90s hip hop the golden era? And before we get into the argument, I actually say we both have very similar opinions on this, but I'm going to be batting for the corner of 90s was the golden era. Okay. And you're going to be batting for the corner of, 80s, 2000s, anything other than the 90s.
I'm just saying that saying 90s is golden era is a limiting statement.
It's a limiting
statement. You can say whatever, like, a 90s had this and that, but then you take away from all the other great hip-hop that's occurred, by saying that.
Okay. So, listen.
Hey, don't look at my notes.
This man. Right. He came fully with notes and highlights.
And he came saying, "Oh, nah, it's cool that you got notes." But then, like for the first 30 minutes while he got here, he was making his own notes, saying, "Oh, damn, you're gonna win. I didn't come prepared like this."
Hey, listen. We don't know that's gonna happen, but anyway. Do you want to start this off, Antonio? Why do you think...
No, you can start off because I'll go my back to the wall.
You go back to the wall.
It's a hard argument. You can't argue against 90s hip hop.
Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna go with sonically. It's trendy.
Sonically it's trendy. Okay.
Yeah, in the sense of whether you like it or not, the 90s rap scene has arguably aged better than that of any other era. Because obviously trends and sounds come and go, things develop.
It's timeless.
Things progress. But 90s is one of the eras that is very much seen as timeless, from the art direction to the style to the image to the look. And a lot of people, even in today's music, will take 90s hip hop and R&B samples 100%. And kind of rehash it. You look at Summer Walker's Come Through, it's Usher's You Make Me Wanna. And that's R&B per se. Or like...
But it falls into the whole bracket. Hip hop and R&B are cousins.
Similar bracket.
Same family.
So like my point being, it's trendy, like, and a lot of what we hear today is reflect, and obviously you say 90s is a reflection of the 70s and 60s in a degree, but more so than ever, like wearing it on its sleeve, like they're wearing the 90s influence on their sleeve, like musically, and that's why I think 90s is a golden era, because it is like timeless.
Yeah, calling it the golden era is all like fine and good, but I see hip hop as like an art form of self-expression. And it's easier to break it down as saying 90s as a classic period or the Renaissance period, where like in some ways maybe hip hop peaked, but then saying it's a golden era is saying everything else is like silver and bronze. Like, you're a big fan of 2000s rap yourself. So, I am. So would you say that 2000s is silver to the 90s, or like, how would you put that?
I would say every era probably has their highs and their lows, and I feel like what we don't take into account, whether we're talking about 70s, 80s, of any genre of music in any kind of sound, what I feel like we don't take into account is we look at everything through rose-tinted glasses. So when we look 100%. At the 90s and 2000s, we're always thinking of, like, we only remember the good stuff. We're not remembering Criss Cross. I mean, we might be. Like, we're not remembering...
everyone's remembering Criss Cross.
Not for making a classic album, though.
Yeah.
But, like, no one's remembering...
like a Sway Lee and Slim Jimmy
Like, my
type.
point is, we'll remember Jizz's Liquid Swords as a pinnacle of 90s rap. But will we remember Jizz's second album... or no, his third album, Beneath the Surface, in 99. No. Will we remember Jizz's first album, Words from the Genius,
like for every
in 91?
Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style, there's a Dogfather. Like, the 90s did have its highlights. It's like 90s basketball.
For every Illmatic, there was a Nostradamus.
Yeah. It's like 90s basketball. Like, it's just kind of like
high highs and low lows. But we only remember
because we want to live in within it, and the people which were living within it just highlight the times that like were better, like the higher points.
But then I guess you could arguably say that there was a lot more classic material then than there is now, and it is subjective. It's subjective to say that
you got
older stuff is better than newer stuff, and obviously age and
it's
time.
More balanced now though. Like,
I agree.
Like, there's the entry levels for being a hip hop artist are like.
What's your problem?
Yep.
Something that helps consumerism. And definitely that helps the corporate machine that is hip hop and rap music. Is my biggest argument to you is when the Migos, like I said, when they dropped Culture 2 and they put like 20 plus songs on the album, they didn't put 20 plus songs on the album because they were like, these are our 20 best. So we recorded 50, these are the 20 best, and this is our best body of work. Like they did. But the first Culture, the nature of the way streaming works, and forget the 90s, like even though this is in support of my 90s argument, like forget the 90s, like back then when you went to, the Tower Records and bought the CD, like that was the artist. In most cases, not in all cases, but in most cases, their artistic vision of tracks 1 through 15, like this was a story, it was a narrative, it was like I say, it was an art form, it was a piece of work. But in the streaming era, more often, not in all cases, but more often than not, you're seeing Playboy Carti's, Whole Lotta Red, which has highlights with 25 tracks, but no one's sitting through that. All true. Trippie Redd dropped a 40-track album.
This is all true. But Trippie Redd could go off his label. Playboy Carti could do the same. Amigos could do the same, and all release music. But in the 90s, it was very gatekeeping like community in terms of the record labels would say you have to release this and that. So even though they're catering to streaming, if they wanted to, they could like go independent and still release music through all these like it's less restricted.
I agree.
Like, it's a more balanced playing field. Like because
it is way more balanced.
Even though because you gotta appreciate that hip hop is an electronic music form from reproduction front, and the 90s, as great as the production was, the technology wasn't as capable. So now when people are saying like, oh, the rappers aren't as lyrical, it's because the rappers are adapting to these new like soundscapes from the beats that weren't possible before. Like, I feel like modern day rap is frowned upon because, oh, you see the charts, it's all about melodies and like having pop appeal. But at the same time, there's so many underground dope rap artists like internationally which are like doing what they want, and like in the 90s they would have been accepted and loved, and now they're not as accepted and loved because like they're overshadowed by all this kind of like commercial, more fast food rap. And it doesn't mean that now there's less good rappers. It just means like what's dictating what a good rapper is just like different.
No, that's a great argument. Like I say, like even though we're having this debate, like I fully agree, and I'm on your side, but I'm not on your side at the same time. And I guess the biggest point I want to draw to is, similar to what you said with the Renaissance point. Like the reason why I bat for the 90s as the golden era, and also like I do want to make a point, like just because 90s is a golden era doesn't mean we can't improve. Doesn't mean, because one thing I do want to make a distinction of, a lot of people say, oh, 90s is a golden era, it's the best, which it was, on a statistical, critical, and commercial level, it was because more people were buying music then.
Yeah.
And review.
But there was also less artists to select from, so that also bigs up the numbers of the artists.
No, of course.
Like, now but listen.
Hear me out.
And from a commercial and critical point of view, commercially, Drake's probably the most respected artist. Not respected, like, because commercial is just numbers, but commercially, Drake's doing more numbers than any hip hop artist before. And Kendrick might be more critically acclaimed
than any rapper ever. Yeah, but they're the exceptions, not the rule, though. Yeah, they are fully the exceptions. When you go on the charts, you're going to see Taylor Swift, and you can see Ariana Grande, and you're going to see Bruno Mars. You're not going to see rappers on the charts like that. Like when Travis Scott and Roddy Ricch,
we're talking hip hop.
I know. But when Travis Scott and Roddy Ricch were like, "I'll stream the box" or "Sicko Mode's number one" or whatever, like we are still shocked at that. Even though rappers number one job, but we are still shocked at that because in the Grammy Awards and everything, like it still doesn't have that kind of.
But it didn't in the 90s.
It didn't.
Who won the first Grammy? Will Smith.
Will Smith won the first rap Grammy, and it wasn't even televised. Exactly. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
But no, the craziest thing I want to say is even though obviously point for point, like music is subjective. Even though obviously I agree 90s is the golden era. One thing that is obviously reductionist.
I agree as well, but like
one thing obviously it's a reductionist statement, but one thing I do want to highlight is just because it's the golden era and we revere it to be the best. 2030 could be the best decade of rap going forward. Do you know what I mean? Like, we don't know. So like, I'll agree that the 90s is the best era, but I don't mean it in a sense where we can't improve. Like, Vince Staples ain't doing his thing, Carti ain't doing his thing. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying
Carti ain't doing his thing since Die Lit. Those singles.
That's questionable. That's questionable. But my point being, although I hold the 90s to a timeless high regard, that's not me shutting out anything new and saying I don't listen to it, I don't like it. No, I love like most things coming out now. I'm rinsing it. In fact, I listen to more rap. I listen to more new rap music than you do. To keep it a buck. And I'm in my pockets of underground rap that you don't know about. I know you're in your pockets of underground, but I am too, bro.
You're on your mainstream pop shit, bro. Facts.
That's call me mainstream.
No, but I mean like you know like how underground I am. Like
I know you're underground.
Most rapper listen to people I know.
I know. But point for point, I listen to more mainstream rap than you. Go back to our pilot episode.
No, that's facts.
I do.
Yeah. Before you said new rap, but like.
Oh no, I definitely do listen to more new rap than you. Because when I'm checking, no, I do, and you know I do. You've seen my computer, bro.
No, but most of your stuff's like deep cuts from like 2000s and shit. Like,
I'm listening to Red Veil. Like, listen, I'm on my new stuff. Kenny Mason's like, I'm checking.
Kenny Mason is a beast.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Angelic Hood rap. Check that shit out.
Yo, how many I said defend how much rap? Like, you just think I'm just out here listening to Drake and stuff? Like, no.
What's happening? No, this debate is turned into discussion.
Listen, anyway, my point being. Point for point, obviously, 90s is the high standard now, but 2040 could be the best era of rap. They could be saying like we don't know.
But do we know? We could look back to the 2010s and
we could. But with the 90s, like here's just some highlights. Because listen, you could be all day talking about classic 90s rap albums and getting on your pretentious thing. But listen, just off the top of the head, right? Listen, Jizz's Liquid Swords.
Great album.
Most Steps, only Black on Both Sides. Yeah. Black on Both Sides. Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, even though it's only 50% rap or whatever. Like, listen.
No, Miseducation goes.
De La Soul is Dead. And Balloon Mind State. Fuji's The Score.
Yeah.
Diggable Planets. Diggable Planets. A Tribe Called Quest. Low End Theory. Ice Cube's
But you can like list out as many like dope 90s hip hop albums.
Okay, Illmatic.
But like
to be fair,
you just have to break it down. Like the fashion post 90s is just way more like accessible.
Oh, I agree.
90s rap was really sexist and homophobic, but we're not ready for that conversation. That's a whole nother
that's something I agree, because when I'm listening to Nas, I'm listening to
sometimes
and I listen to Halftime, and I'm vibing to the songs, and he'll say something, and I'm just a bit like, oh.
Yeah, but like now look at it. You got like artists like Mickey Blanco, who is like They don't identify as either male or female, and they're like
non-binary. Of course. No, I will agree. It is progressive. I will admit, like new music is progressive, and like when I defend
hip hop is progressive art form. So like the evolution. Even though the 90s might have more highs or more classics or whatever, it's like the evolution of what hip-hop's becoming. Like,
but also, I want to highlight a point that like I genuinely do feel it's actually not fair to be like 90s, 2000s, 2010s. Like, I actually believe that albums, projects, and art should be taken on a case-by-case basis. Like, just because I like Liquid Swords doesn't mean I can't love, like Neon Pegasus versus the Shark. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can really like You can pick and choose and chop and change. You could love Run DMC and Rapper's Delight. And you can also love Lancey Foe. You can love... Do you know what I mean? You can love Chip. You can love all the...
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. Like, in terms of like rap in the 90s, it was just a few select states in America which were really producing rappers. Now, like, the UK scene's popping. There's loads of European rap. Like, Canada's going crazy.
No,
and rap's become like an international phenomenon.
Rap
like,
is international.
Like, you could say the golden era of rap is like every day, because as it's growing, it's like becoming more
my point. Like,
encompassing.
the bar gets pushed every time, and I agree with that. I think that's the conclusion we're really coming to with the argument. Like, even though I'm gunning for the 90s and for my classics, I do acknowledge it's very reductionist to be like, oh, 90s is this, 90s is that. Like, I'm like fully like, I know we're saying opposing things, but I'm actually with you on this.
No.
I agree.
No, like I said, the debate turned into discussion like 3 minutes in.
Yeah, like it's
use your notes.
Huh?
Use your notes.
I don't need to use the notes. Like, it would be going too long if I used all these damn notes. Crazy.
But no, yeah. I just listen. Look, it's just most. Yo. Listen. You sleeping?
What am I sleeping on, bro? Like, well, now we can go on about like how great 90s hip hop is.
But also, 90s hip hop, I feel like it gets a label of being all samey, but it is very diverse in itself.
It's very diverse, but the native tongues, the Tribe Called Quest of the world were like underground and pushed down. They weren't getting the number ones. They weren't getting that kind of attention. It was like very framed towards the
They did go platinum though.
Over time. It's the Tupac and the Biggies which were going platinum straight away. Like,
that's
actually speaking.
Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt didn't go platinum until 2001. Illmatic didn't go platinum until like 5-6 years after it came out. You're right, actually. A lot of the things we hold dear, and a lot of us, like, I guess it's because for me, like, I guess a lot of these albums which I love, like Ice Cube's Death Certificate. That's it. Like, it's not even that I'm saying that the 90s is the best era, because to keep it a buck, I grew up in the 2000s. Like, I can make an argument that 2000s means more to me than the 90s. But like, bro, it's just like, when I think about it.
Exactly.
It's like, I'm like, yo, Jesus Liquid Swords, that's up there for me. You know, like, Scarface's The Diary. Oh, that's... Like, it's just a coincidence. Like, it's not that, like, I'm just, like, a sucker for the 90s and I close my eyes to
It was a different type of hip-hop as well, because, like, back then, people were storytelling, speaking the essence of our lives. But now it's just, like... It's
more free form.
Yeah, it's very much more free form. It's like the evolution of jazz. And like,
it
over
is.
time, it becomes more like free, liberating.
No, I agree.
And that's how it's just like reflected upon the listeners. Like now, if you go to a rap show, and another thing, rap shows have gotten better. Because in the 90s, it'd be like Nas on stage with like 20 niggas from his hood, and you can barely see him. And like it was like except the Public Enemies and Run DMC's of the world, which were even more like 80s rappers. Like rap live shows, it was like you went there to support the artist, but it wasn't a great performance. It was like Rocker and stuff was where like the great performers were. But now some rappers are just performing insane.
Yeah, when I saw Travis Scott, he had like a whole like bird on this. When I saw when it was Birds in the Trap McKnight when he was performing in 2017, like he had a whole bird on the stage. I'm pretty sure.
And arguably, you could say hip hop's become more conceptual in an artistic way. Like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like, you can say it's not your favorite rap album.
Yeah, to be fair, that's a point.
But it's maybe the most artistic rap album. The way it's pieced together, and he borrows from 90s rap artists, Raekwons, the RZAs. The production on it is like, it's like, I just see it as, say, 90s as a golden era. Is a fair statement.
It's a fair statement,
but hip hop is forever growing.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, hip hop is still so young as well.
It's a fair statement.
Like, some of our parents are older than hip hop.
Yeah, it's a small-minded statement at the same time. It's a great statement, but it's definitely a small-minded statement. To be on either side of the fence to completely bash the 90s, especially considering how it made... Because I feel like the 90s advanced hip hop in 10 years by 20.
Yeah, exactly.
Like everything advances by 10 years, but 90s pushed it... Because 80s hip hop and 2000s hip hop, it's night and day, do you know what I mean? But like the 90s really pushed it forward. So to bash it, it's bad. But to solely just love on it and ignore everything else,
like the hip hop purists which denied anything not 90s as being great.
And they'll be like, Drake is bad. Like, do you know what I mean? Like all that kind of. I'm not here for that. And I definitely, especially when I write articles on the Culture Crypt and when you highlight things with your shows and your artists, like we definitely do like the equilibrium, the creative equilibrium, and be like, yeah, this is old and this is good, but you know, keeping it new as well. Like, listen. Okay, so I think that is kind of a wrap on this like 90s rap debate. Like, but guys, I'm really interested.
It wasn't a debate; it was a discussion. It was just like listing our points.
It was, and we both had valid points.
It did fall apart a bit in a great way. Like, I think it was a good conversation.
No, fully, and it needed to be had because even though I was back in 90s and you were back in modern and just other eras entirely, like, I definitely feel there is a layer of...
I was thinking about, I thought like, oh shit, it would be hard going against 90s rap, but I probably had the easier job. Like,
you really did, because I didn't really want to defend the 90s like that. Like, even though I love 90s music, like, to say Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre and Wu-Tang...
It's really generic,
yeah, it sucks, man. It really does. It sucks. But anyway, guys, let us know what you think. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell us what you want to see next. If you're listening on Spotify, you know, check out our other episodes and see what we have on offer.
Yeah, give us some downloads.
Of course, of course.
Add to the episodes on Spotify.
Of course. Checking out Antonio and stuff. Don't forget to follow Aaron Electricity on Instagram. If you're checking for myself, don't forget to follow the Culture Crypt on Instagram. Shout out to our man Drew in the back, sorting this together.
This wouldn't happen without Drew.
We couldn't do this without Drew, so shout out to Drew. And yeah, guys, I just want to say...
Show some love to Instagram as well.
Fully. Follow Substance and Style.
Thank you to anyone who like actually listened this far through as well.
Anyway, thank you, guys. We've been Substance and Style, and I'll see you later.